Welcome to Voyage Daily Tech, the most important news personalized for you every day, supported by Voyage.com.
After listening to today's news, you'll know, first, the $7 trillion AI data center race sees Europe turn power grid bottlenecks into a strategic advantage, targeting the lucrative inference market. We'll explore how this regulated, scarcity-driven strategy could transform data center investment and give Europe a competitive edge in the AI inference wave. Second, X's location feature unmasks pro-Trump accounts as a global gig economy, shifting from state-sponsored bots to disinformation as a service for profit. In this episode, we'll break down this rise of entrepreneurial grifters and what it signals for content moderation and platform security ahead of elections. Third, HP cuts 6,000 jobs in a $1 billion AI pivot, highlighting a trend where AI investment becomes the new corporate justification for mass layoffs. This discussion will reveal how this connects to a larger trend of AI-driven job displacement and what it means for the future of the workforce. Fourth, Apple faces a potential $38 billion fine as India's new antitrust law targets global turnover, creating a showdown amid its China Plus One strategy. We'll analyze why this legal battle is a turning point for big tech and how it could affect global expansion strategies and regulatory compliance worldwide. Fifth, Alibaba challenges Meta with $268 smart glasses, disrupting the market with a low-cost, commerce-first strategy tied to its Taobao ecosystem. So we'll discuss why this commerce-first approach matters and what it means for the rise of sovereign AI ecosystems independent of Silicon Valley. Let's start with a single statistic that might just change your entire perspective on the next global power struggle. $7 trillion. That's how much the world is racing to spend by 2030 to build the warehouses that power AI, an effort to double, if not triple, the entire data center capacity built over the last 40 years. Just to put that number in perspective for you, $7 trillion is more than the combined annual economic output of Germany and Japan. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a complete reconstruction of our digital world's foundation. The situation presents a fascinating duality. On one side, you have the US with a staggering 5,400 data centers, while on the other, most European countries have only 200 to 300. But the real story isn't about who's building fastest, but who's building smartest. We previously analysed warnings that data center electricity demand could roughly double by 2030. And just a few days ago, we noted a capacity auction where an independent watchdog found data centers accounted for 63% of a $9.3 billion tab. Now, all that abstract grid stress has become the central design constraint for Europe's AI build-out. It all boils down to one critical bottleneck: power. The battle for electricity is so fierce that it's creating a clear map of winners and losers. You see, an AI data center isn't like the server room in your office. The specialized chips used for AI, called GPUs, consume 10 to 15 times more power than a traditional computer processor, and you need thousands of them working together. Projections show that by 2030, data centers could be eating up to 12% of all global electricity. That's a massive drain. In countries like Germany, the UK, and Ireland, the grid is so congested that one expert says there is, quote, effectively a moratorium for the foreseeable future on new data center connections. It's a chokehold. We've seen how this collides with local politics. Remember the fights over new pylons in Wales? Which is why the next moves in Europe are as much about permitting and grid access as they are about chips. But that's not the whole picture. The real turning point is how Europe's biggest weakness is becoming its secret weapon. An expert at Principal Asset Management just went on the record calling Europe a much more safer investment case, precisely because it's so difficult to build there. The logic is that the harder something is to replicate, the more long-term value it holds. We previously said the AI race isn't just about code, it's a brutal competition for power. This is the update. In Europe's highly regulated market, that brutal competition creates scarcity and scarcity creates moats. In a speculative boom, everyone rushes to build. But in Europe, getting a permit and grid connection is a huge barrier, meaning any data center that does get built has a powerful competitive moat around it. It's a guaranteed valuable asset because no one can easily build another one next door. It's a bet on stability over explosive, but potentially risky growth. So Europe isn't trying to win the AI training race that's considered all but won by the US. Instead, it's positioning itself for a different and potentially bigger prize, AI inference. The distinction is crucial. Think of training as sending an AI to university for years. It requires massive, centralized supercomputers crunching data for months. But inference is when the AI graduates and gets a job. It's the AI actually using its knowledge to do tasks like analyzing a medical scan or powering your car's navigation. Training happens once, inference happens millions of times every second. As we've discussed before, cooling has become a first-order constraint. The new piece here is how Europe is engineering around that constraint to capture the inference wave. McKinsey sees 70% of all future AI demand coming from inference, and Europe's strategy is to build the specialized, sustainable, and flexible facilities required to capture that market. So what does a flexible facility even mean? Now, get this. To handle the intense heat from inference chips, European designers are pioneering advanced liquid cooling systems, like direct-to-chip cooling, that can handle up to 100 kilowatts of heat per server rack. Some studies show these systems can cut carbon emissions by over 80%. On top of that, they're building these facilities to be good neighbors. In Denmark, for example, Meta's data center is already capturing its waste heat to warm 11,000 local homes. That's not just building smart, it's building a new social contract for the AI era. While others are in a speculative frenzy, Europe's slower, more regulated pace is forcing it to innovate, creating a resilient and more profitable infrastructure built for the long haul. And after seeing how overloaded hubs and rising electricity costs have played out elsewhere, that measured approach might just be the winning edge. So while Europe is busy building the physical foundation for AI, the social platforms built on that foundation are dealing with a completely different kind of chaos. A new location feature on X just unmasked dozens of popular America First and pro-Trump accounts, revealing they're not in America at all. Now, some are calling this a genuine step toward transparency. Interestingly enough, critics are labeling it transparency theatre. The idea is that it offloads the difficult job of moderation onto everyday users without actually fixing the root cause of why this content is created in the first place. The platform shows you the location, but the incentive to create the fake content is still there. An Ivanka Trump fan account posting about illegal immigration to the US was shown to be based in Nigeria. An account spreading conspiracy theories about the assassination attempt on Trump was found to be in Eastern Europe. And an account named American Voice, which posts anti-Islam content, is based in India. The fact that it's coming from India is fascinating. Researchers are pointing to what they call an ideological supply chain, where nationalist ideas popular in one country, like the Hindu nationalist Hindutva movement, can be easily repackaged for a similar far-right audience in the US. It creates this globalized feedback loop where anti-Islam rhetoric, for example, finds a ready and willing market thousands of miles away. Believe it or not, the situation gets even stranger. An investigation confirmed that a network of accounts posing as young pro-Trump American women were almost all located in Thailand. They were stealing images from European influencers and digitally adding pro-Trump hats and clothing to build credibility. This all begs the question, why Thailand? It seems to be a perfect storm of local economics, high English proficiency, and solid internet infrastructure. The average salary for a social media professional there can be significantly higher than the national average. When you can earn thousands of dollars a month just by creating viral political content for a US audience, it becomes a very attractive form of digital export. And this isn't just a fringe issue. Donald Trump himself recently shared a post from an account called Trump Army, which has nearly 600,000 followers. Shortly after, other users pointed out that the Trump Army account was based in India. So, what's the real endgame here? Geopolitical influence or just a grift? Experts point to a powerful motivator, profit. X's platform now pays creators based on engagement, and this incentivizes rage bait posts designed to enrage users and force them to comment. For some overseas operators, this can mean thousands of dollars. A 2021 report found many accounts pushing these messages were not ideologically invested, but driven by purely entrepreneurial motivations. Here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just a few people getting lucky. It's the rise of what experts call disinformation as a service. It's a full-blown gig economy, a huge shift from what we saw back in 2016. Back then, we worried about centralized, state-sponsored bot farms, like the Russian Internet Research Agency. Those were easier to track. But this new model is decentralized, run by entrepreneurial grifters motivated by profit, not state orders. This makes them far more resilient and much harder for intelligence agencies to shut down. This pipeline, from online chatter to real-world policy, is the critical issue. An expert warns that extreme ideas start in these dark corners of the internet. They spread, they become memes, and then politicians pick them up. Widely discredited claims that originated in far-right chat rooms have already been brought up by political leaders. These ideas are not just staying online, they are becoming mainstream. Speaking of new, strange forms of digital work, the rise of AI is also having a massive impact on more traditional jobs. HP just announced it's cutting up to 6,000 of them in a $1 billion bet on AI. The company's stock immediately fell 6% on the news, but this isn't just about one company's balance sheet. However, if you zoom out, you'll see another layer of strategy at play. HP is caught in a massive paradox. The AI boom they need to embrace for efficiency is also driving up the cost of the very memory chips they need for their core PC products. So they're being simultaneously squeezed and propelled by the exact same trend. This move is about freeing up cash to invest in their own AI future before they get priced out of their own market. This is the latest signal of a massive economic shift, and HP is just the newest name on a growing list. A while back, we walked through Amazon's own pivot using AI to organize more leanly, an early template for how incumbents justify getting smaller to move faster. Consider the buy now, pay later company Klarna. They just revealed that AI-related savings helped them almost halve their entire workforce over the past 3 years by simply replacing departing staff with technology. And it's not just tech. The law firm Clifford Chance is cutting staff, attributing it partly to new AI. Even the consulting giant PwC publicly scaled back a plan to hire 100,000 people, saying AI had changed its hiring needs. This all points to a fascinating and slightly uncomfortable new trend. Investing in AI is becoming a powerful and socially acceptable justification for corporate restructuring. When HP faced a lower than expected profit outlook, announcing layoffs under the banner of AI innovation sounds a lot more forward-thinking than simply saying we need to cut costs. We previously analysed Amazon's HR chief saying AI is the most transformative technology since the internet and that the company had to be leaner to move faster. HP's framing rhymes with that playbook. But as we warned, there's customer risk baked in. If cuts touch teams behind discovery or support, loyalty can turn quickly. What really brought this to a head was a new report from the McKinsey Global Institute. It's an absolute bombshell, estimating that in the United States, about 40% of all jobs could be replaced by AI, hitting sectors from legal services to education. We saw an early version of this in banking. Citigroup cut thousands of roles through automation, and Goldman Sachs automated its entire IPO document process. A Wells Fargo analysis projected AI could eliminate 200,000 US banking jobs. The pattern is already here. After all, we're watching the innovator's dilemma play out in real time. Legacy companies like HP have to decide whether to fundamentally change their business, like IBM did, or risk becoming obsolete, like Nokia. For these giants, investing in AI isn't just for efficiency, it's a question of survival. And even if you get lean, you're now up against new kinds of rivals like France's Mistral AI, backed for national influence, not just quarterly profit. Being lean may not be enough. The final number from that McKinsey analysis is the most jaw-dropping AI and robots could automate more than half of all US work hours using technology that is available right now. This isn't a distant prediction. The technology already exists. A key part of this is the rise of the AI PC with a special chip called a neural processing unit, or NPU, designed to run AI tasks directly on your laptop. It makes AI faster, more private, and more accessible. And as we've noted in other sectors, when AI gets this close to the end user, tone and trust become product features, not afterthoughts. The push for AI-driven efficiency is no longer a theory. It's a reality reshaping the global workforce at an accelerating pace. This pressure to integrate AI into every piece of hardware is hitting every major player, which brings us to Apple, who is staring down the barrel of a potential $38 billion fine in India. So how on earth did they get to a number that big? The key detail is that India recently amended its competition law, allowing regulators to calculate fines based on a company's global turnover, not just its revenue within India. This is a massive shift in power. That astronomical number is at the center of a legal challenge. The iPhone maker just launched in the Delhi High Court, calling the penalty calculation method unconstitutional, grossly disproportionate, and unjust. Now, while this seems extreme, India isn't acting in a total vacuum. We're seeing India doing this, while at the same time the European Union is taking a similar path. The EU's Digital Markets Act also allows for huge fines based on worldwide turnover. So what we're seeing is a new playbook for regulators, and India is adopting one of its most powerful pages. A while back, we analysed how Apple answered EU pressure by slicing App Store fees, kind of malicious compliance. The latest development is that India isn't haggling over fee levels at all. It's attacking the penalty base itself by tying fines to global revenue. This legal war comes after India's Competition Commission began investigating Apple over complaints from an alliance of Indian startups and Tinder owner Match Group. They accuse Apple of abusive conduct, forcing developers to pay high commissions through its in-app purchase system. The Commission's initial view is that Apple's mandatory system restricts choice for developers, and as we discussed before, those mandatory tools are exactly where developers risk vendor lock-in. Actually, this fight isn't just about App Store fees. It's likely part of India's much larger national strategy for digital sovereignty. India has been aggressively promoting its own technologies, like the UPI payment system, and has even banned foreign apps to protect its digital landscape. So while framed as a fair competition issue, it's also about nurturing a domestic tech ecosystem and reducing reliance on foreign giants. This is where the situation takes a more complex turn. This multi-billion-dollar legal battle is exploding at the exact moment Apple is betting its future on India as part of its China Plus One strategy to diversify manufacturing. We're talking about Apple's suppliers creating nearly 350,000 jobs in India. That's how deeply invested they are. When we place Apple's massive investment alongside India's aggressive new law, the contradiction becomes clear. Apple just recorded its highest ever quarterly shipments in India, hitting 5 million units, and exports have hit a record $12.8 billion. This incredible investment gives the Indian government a huge amount of leverage. This creates a high-stakes showdown. This decision to expand in India brings both benefits for Apple, but also comes with the inherent risk of facing a government that's flexing its regulatory muscle. The conflict pits Apple's market expansion directly against India's emerging power, turning a celebrated investment story into a multi-billion-dollar legal war. The outcome could create massive ripple effects. If India wins, will Apple pass the costs on to developers? Or could this finally open the door for local Indian payment companies to thrive inside Apple's ecosystem? A few days ago, we talked about Apple salami slicing its commissions. Watch whether we see an India-specific round of that same play, or whether regulators force truly open payment routes instead. It's a question that will define the future of tech in one of the world's most important markets. While Apple navigates that high-stakes battle in India, another global tech war is heating up. The most unexpected news in the tech world today has to be Alibaba's direct challenge to Meta. As Meta pushes its $799 smart glasses, Alibaba just fired back, launching its own version for just $268. A while back, we broke down how Meta's Ray-Ban strategy tripled US sales. Today, that momentum just met a price shock. So how is that even possible? To hit that incredibly low price, Alibaba is making a very clever trade-off. This entry-level model, the Quark G1, forgoes a visual display entirely, focusing on audio, AI assistance, and core smart features. It's a brilliant strategy to create a low-cost entry point that Meta's premium-only approach can't match. And for those who do want visuals, there's an S1 model at $536, so Alibaba's covering both ends while leading with the ultra-low-cost option. Remember, we previously highlighted Meta's Ray-Ban display, putting a screen in your lens. Alibaba is deliberately zigging where Meta zags. This is the Quark AI glass, Alibaba's first major foray into the smart glasses war, and it's a direct challenge to Silicon Valley. The company is integrating its own powerful Qwen AI models, their version of ChatGPT, directly into the device. This isn't just a concept, it's on sale now. The features are designed for a world on the go, on-the-fly translation, AI-generated meeting notes, and a killer app for shoppers. A while back, we talked about Meta's live translation and object identification. Alibaba hits that utility layer and then pushes further into commerce. Using a camera in the frame, users can look at any product, and the device will instantly show its price on Taobao, Alibaba's massive shopping platform. This isn't just a cool feature, it's a completely different philosophy. While Meta's glasses are built around social sharing, Alibaba is creating a seamless pipeline from seeing something in the real world to buying it on their platform. It's a visual search to purchase experience that leverages their e-commerce ecosystem. Continuing our last discussion about platform lock-in, this is a uniquely powerful killer app that Western competitors who don't own a platform like Taobao simply can't replicate. If that was just the appetizer, the main course is just being served. Tech giants are betting that smart glasses will be the next big consumer device after the smartphone. The market is projected to explode, with shipments expected to exceed 10 million units by 2026, doubling in just 1 year. And as we mentioned before, Meta's partner, EssilorLuxottica, is preparing to ramp to around 10 million units a year by the end of 2026. So the supply chain is gearing up. Now, we've seen this movie before with the ghost of Google Glass, but what's different is that Google Glass failed because of privacy fears and a lack of clear purpose. Alibaba believes it has solved this by focusing on genuinely useful applications like that shopping feature and designing glasses that look normal, overcoming the social awkwardness. And if you think this is a long shot for Alibaba, their ChatGPT style Qwen app just hit 10 million downloads in its first week. That's the software engine now powering these glasses. This move positions Alibaba not just against Meta, but also against domestic rivals like Xiaomi and XReal. It's the latest play in a massive AI arms race. The significance here is that we're witnessing the rise of what experts call sovereign AI. This isn't just a Chinese company building a gadget. It's a Chinese device running a Chinese AI model on Chinese cloud infrastructure, all operating within China's data laws. We previously called this the hardware as Trojan horse strategy. Alibaba's twist is commerce first and sovereign end to end. This creates a self-reliant technology stack, independent of Silicon Valley. The tech Cold War is heating up, and it's happening right on our faces.
That's it for today on Voyage Daily Tech. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.